So let's look at Codeforces round 851 problem A. You're given a sequence which is A1, A2 all the way up to AN, and each element can be either 1 or 2. So we have to find out an integer k exists with the following conditions. Now k is greater than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to n minus 1, which basically means that k is an index of the array from 1 up, like which is the first element, up to the n minus 1th element, which is the second last element. And the multiplication of all the elements up to the kth element has to be equal to the multiplication of all the elements after the kth element. So this is why k has to be up to n minus 1, because the right side of the multiplication has to have at least one element. Now, if there are multiple such k, then we have to find the smallest. Okay, so finding the smallest, how this turns out for us is, if we go through the array from left to right, the first time we can find the solution, we can just print that. So let's look at it. So suppose we are given an array 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, which is the first example test case given. We have to find such an index which, for example, if this is the k, the multiplication of all the elements up to here should be equal to the multiplication of all elements up to here. Now, as you can see, the multiplication of this side of the array is 2 into 2 into 1 into 2, which is 8. And the multiplication of this side is 2, which is not equal. So this is not a valid test case, right? So similarly, if you notice properly, the ones in the array do not make any contribution to the multiplication. It's only the 2's that count. So this solution exists only if the number of 2's are even, like number of 2's are even. So if odd, then a solution can never exist, because 2 power x and 2 power y can never be equal if x is not equal to y. So x is equal to y, only then 2 power x can be equal to 2 power y, which is a multiplication of both the sides. So first we have to count number of 2's. Let's say this count is equal to c. So if c is equal to 4, it basically means that there are 4 2's, 2, 2, 2, 2. I'm ignoring the ones because they do not mean anything. So we have to place the divider exactly at the middle. So which means k will be the last element over here. So if c is equal to 4, then the second element, or c by 2th element, is k. And if k is odd, then obviously a solution does not exist. Now, one more thing you have to notice is, if there are no 2's, and the array is just 1's, and so on, then if you take any element, that is a suitable candidate for k, because the multiplication will always be 1 and 1. So in this case, we'll have to take the smallest, which is the first element, and the index of that is 1. So let's look at the code now. Here I've taken the number of test cases and running a loop for the test cases. We take an integer n, create an array of size n, and then we input all the elements. Now we take a variable to count the number of 2's, and if ARR of I is equal to 2, then we increment that. Over here, we already have the number of 2's. Now the first thing we check is, if the number of 2's is 0, then as we just discussed in the last case, it will be 1, because the first index is the smallest index which satisfies the given conditions. Now, if the number of 2's is odd, then we have to print -1, because then a solution does not exist. Else, we have to print the first k such that it is equal to count 2's by 2, as we discussed c by 2. And we have to print that index. Now, since indexes are from 0 to n minus 1, and the question refers to a 1 based indexing system, we output I plus 1. So let's submit this code. As you can see, it got accepted.